on tender hooks, ending in dirty looks. Listen to the music, thinking about this and that. She said, that's that. I don't want to chitty chat. Turn it down a little bit or turn it down flat. Pump it up until you can feel it. Pump it up when you don't really need it. Down in the pleasure center, hell bent or heaven sent. Listening to the propaganda, listening to the latest slander. There's nothing underhand that she wouldn't understand. Pump it up when you don't really need it. Pump it up until you can feel it. She's been a bad girl, she's like a chemical. Though you try to stop it, she's like a narcotic. You wanna torture her, you wanna talk to her. All the things you bought for her, putting up your temperature. Pump it up until you can feel it. Pump it up when you don't really need it. Where you walk us uptown, and that's always assuming that you're partly divine and partly human. You're the king of our hearts, you're the clown with the drum. Will you walk us uptown if we promise not to run? Pump it up until you can feel it. Pump it up when you don't really need it. Don't really need it. Don't really need it. Don't really need it. Don't really need it.
Yeah! Awesome! Connor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we decided to do an Elvis Costello song because Connor is sort of notoriously like this really, really, really passionate Elvis Costello fan. And Connor, I am too, but maybe I always thought I was like the biggest Elvis Costello fan, and then I like heard people talking about how into him you are, and then it kind of made me look like just I have a passing fancy with Elvis Costello.
You casually enjoy,
I hooked up with him a couple times, whereas you guys were like in a serious relationship.
It's true, it's a good analogy. I used to have an Elvis Costello website called Bright Blue Times. I had it for about over a decade, and then I reached a point where I shut it down because I thought, I'm a man in his mid-30s, I shouldn't have an Elvis Costello website. Now I just tumble obsessively on my Tumblr about Elvis Costello.
So the Tumblr has basically just taken
the Tumblr,
place of the website.
The Tumblr feels more like, yes, this is what a casual adult fan might do.
Now, I have to tell you, when Chris and I were watching TV the other day, I fell asleep, as I always, pretty much, I'm like a spaz, and I'm all day, like, talking a million miles an hour, doing a million things, and then as soon as I stop moving, I fall asleep, like, right away. So we were watching TV the other day, and I had, of course, fallen asleep. And then in the episode of The Sopranos that we were watching, at the end, they played High Fidelity. And Chris
this
can
is like
testify.
Hallie, she was sound asleep in the room.
Sound asleep.
High Fidelity.
I couldn't, like, it called me up from a very deep sleep. Like, my body couldn't actually sleep through High Fidelity. I had to, like, pick my head up and then feebly try to, like, sing some lyrics, and then I just passed right back out again.
Yeah, the drama of Tony Soprano was not enough to keep you awake, but that song pulled you out of...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the episode where the FBI is planting all the sound devices,
Season 3, Episode 1.
Yeah. He also has, in the first season of Sopranos, I don't know if it's still on the DVD, it would go into the end credits. Like the music would, for the end credits, would also go over like the next week on The Sopranos, and one of those ends with Complicated Shadows.
Nice.
Yeah.
So tell us about this. That's okay. I think my screen falls asleep.
It felt
does
it,
that.
it's like you watching The Sopranos.
If I'd sang, maybe I didn't need to go over and actually undo the screen lock. I could have just sang High Fidelity and the computer would have been like, zing.
Yeah.
So tell us about this, the project that you're doing now. You've been like tweeting and blogging about
Yeah.
the new Elvis Costello record.
The new Elvis Costello record is Elvis Costello and the Roots, and
That's awesome.
yeah,
So awesome.
yeah. Costello has been on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, played with the Roots several times. Always like really interesting stuff. He went there for a Bruce Springsteen week when they were all playing Springsteen songs.
What did they play?
They played Brilliant Disguise, which years ago Costello does. There's a country version of Brilliant Disguise that's amazing, and then they did a completely different arrangement of it with the Roots, and they also did the song Fire.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, and so they've apparently been making this album for a while, sort of in secret. Costello would show up after they were done taping Fallon, because they tape at like 5:30 or whatever. He would show up like after 7, and they would work on stuff.
That's
no one
cool.
knew they were making an album, and now it's coming out. It's fantastic. I've heard it.
When does it come out?
It comes out on the 17th.
Wait, and how did you hear it?
It leaked yesterday, and then
And you were like on that.
yeah. Well, I heard a bunch of songs that had started playing on radio broadcasts.
Oh, in fact, sorry to interrupt, but you incorporated the lyrics to one of them.
I did.
In
Now
what
that
we
song
just
came.
did.
That song, I incorporated a little snippet of "Walk Us Uptown," which is the first single. That officially got released like in late July.
Yeah, so we did a little mashup.
So a little bit
mashup
there.
there.
But the album leaked illegally yesterday, and then it started streaming on NPR's website legally, like that first listen thing where they like put out an album a week before. It's a weird thing. I don't quite understand.
Yeah.
The whole album is on NPR right now. You can just play it for free. That's legal.
I think the whole music industry doesn't understand
no
how
one
all of
knows.
that works now.
I think NPR. The assumption is that NPR listeners will be so racked with liberal guilt that we'll stream it all week and then buy
still
it next
buy
week.
it. It's
I think that probably
true.
is true. NPR people are people who like will pledge $100 to get a free tote bag.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they've probably done the numbers on it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, but you've been tweeting about this.
Yeah,
upcoming...
I've been doing a 40-day countdown. 40 days before the album's release date, I decided I was going to do a new, increasingly lengthy as it goes along, post about going in chronological order through all his albums. If you go to my Tumblr, connorratliff.tumblr.com, you can find it on their archive. There's like 40 days of. I go through every album plus a bunch of like unreleased albums that no one's supposed to have heard but have been around, and also various weird things. I did a post about my favorite song of his, etc.
But what and like music journalists have been kind of taking note of what you've been doing.
I've had like various people have contacted me, and also like within the Costello fan community, there's like a Facebook group that's like a former like fan mailing list group. People have been talking about it. There's a website. There's a really good message board called the Elvis Costello Fan Forum, which is sort of like home base for intense Elvis Costello fans.
I guess my question is,
Yeah.
how have you had time to write all these posts and train for the Olympics?
Oh, that's hard. I admit that I have let one of those slide over the course of these 40 days. I've done far less Olympic training.
You've stepped away from your previously rigorous...
Well, this is a finite thing. This will end, whereas the Olympics is years from now. So I feel like I can make up this 40-day period. It's just like a month and change.
Well, when they make tumbling like its own
When
Olympic
tumbling is an
sport.
Olympic event, I have my Tumblr.
Yeah.
And that
I think tumbling is already an Olympic event.
Tumbling
it's just
is,
a
you're, so
different...
you're
No,
in.
but
You're good.
It's gymnastics, they call it.
Yeah, I mean tumbling where you take the last vowel out, so tumble and G. Tumbling.
I'm insecure in this video because I think I just realized it looks like I'm 1.5 feet tall.
It looks like, it's like a dwarf on golf
You
type
had
thing.
to sit on the floor so you could rock the BUBUL. The
Yeah.
BUBUL Tarang.
The BUBUL TARANG, and I don't know, maybe someone can correct this. I believe that was the first version of Pump It Up to ever feature a BUBUL TARANG.
I'm going to say it probably was.
A world premiere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we made a little bit of history.
So, Connor, thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming
It
and
was
rocking
fun
out
to
with
sing.
us. That was awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. I messed
Thanks,
up
Al.
really bad one time, I think.
Yeah,
Towards the end.
if
The
anyone wants
bowl's
to...
a very forgiving instrument. It's
Yeah.
just its tones are very soft. I'm sure you would notice.
I'm sure when people do remixes, they'll auto-tune that part.
All right, so get the new Elvis Costello record, and
Read
yeah,
Connor's Tumblr.
and if you want, and read Connor's Tumblr, and if you want to post a video of yourself playing any Elvis Costello songs, we would love that. Okay,
Connor
bye.
You'd flip out if people started posting Tumblr videos of themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do it.
Do it.
Bye.